right, Raphael, we are going to get underway here. You good if I give you that countdown?
I'm ready.
All right, great. I'll just give it to you verbally.
Welcome to BizFair 2020, Navigating the New Normal. I'm Raphael Colon, Business Outreach Manager with the Employment Security Department and one of the sponsor hosts of this event. This virtual event is an amazing collaboration between state agencies, the private sector, and associations to the benefit of small businesses and entrepreneurs. We believe it is the first of its kind in the country, and we're very excited about this. The generosity from all our partners that have made all this possible are event host, SCORE, Seattle chapter, Washington State Small Business Liaison Team, Employment Security Department, and the Department of Labor and Industries. Our corporate sponsors, Puget Sound Energy is our silver sponsor, Amazon, our bronze sponsor, Grow with Google, our event sponsor, Maylaw Event is one of our co-sponsors, Comcast Business, Small Business Champion, and the Entrepreneur Source, Small Business Champion. We have several state agencies and associations, the Washington State Department of Commerce, the Department of Enterprise Services, the Department of Financial Institutions, Department of Revenue, the Association of Washington Business is an event sponsor, the Washington State Micro Enterprise Association is an event sponsor, and Washington Small Business Development Center is an event co-sponsor. We're so grateful to have all these sponsors to make this all possible for you. All the training content is being recorded and available for free for the next 90 days. Today, you get to sharpen your business skills by attending seminars led by savvy business experts who will share their knowledge and real-life experiences. Gain access to valuable resources and make connections by visiting the Small Business Resource Center, staffed by representatives from federal, state, and local government agencies and business and trade associations. And discover critical products and services you need to start and keep your business running by visiting exhibitors in the digital marketplace. Both the Small Business Resource Center and the digital marketplace are staffed all day to expand your business library and create powerful connections. Let's begin on the main stage with our 2020 keynote presentation titled, Still Standing, Take That, COVID. In 2009, the matching of two entrepreneurial spirits came together. Bev Vine Haynes and Charlotte Clary, the founders of Ice Chips, the Good For You candy, with 43 children between them, they wanted to offer guilt-free treats. Within a week of sharing their new candy with friends and family, they recognized that they had $1 million idea. Now sold in all 50 states and having become an Amazon sensation, a tin of Ice Chips is the perfect reward for good grades and clean rooms. Loved by children and adults alike, appreciated for both dental benefits and delicious taste, Ice Chips is a coveted, safe, and healthy treat. 11 years after starting Ice Chips, these grannies have a lot of great advice for entrepreneurs. Having endured financial downturns, some bad business advice, marketing setbacks, and COVID-19, they can help anyone navigate the pitfalls and rewards of owning your own business. We welcome to BizFair 2020, Bev and Charlotte. Take it away.
Hi, we're the Grannies. We're here to talk to the Washington State Small Business Fair, and we really appreciate you inviting us to talk about our business.
Thank you for having us. Well, I suppose a lot of you are curious exactly who we are. We live down in Yelm, Washington, and we have our families raised here. Bev's going to tell you a little more about that. And we're going to tell you about Ice Chips, how we got started, working in a factory in Yelm that we've created, some good things and a couple little flukes along the way. So here we go.
All right. In 2009, we decided, between us, we have 43, almost 44 grandchildren. And we wanted to be yes grandmas. We wanted to be able to give them a sweet treat without feeling guilty because we don't care for sugared candy. So we decided to try making a xylitol candy because we knew that Dennis loves xylitol.
With that said, I went ahead and ordered some mint tins like Altoids and some labels that we could put on them. And we ordered a 10-pound bag of xylitol and came over to my house. Bev came over to my house and she started cooking upstairs. And I went downstairs to the office and I was coming up with label ideas. And that's where our Ice Chips logo was born. And that's about when our first 3 flavors started. What were those?
We already had a healthy salve solution company. And so we had on hand wintergreen oil, peppermint oil, and spearmint oil. So we decided we would use those oils to make our first 3 flavors. And we used, little did we know at that time that we weren't supposed to be able to make hard candy out of xylitol. So we just made it. And we gave it to all our friends and relatives and they loved it. And the grandkids loved it. So we knew we had a winner. We just didn't know how big a winner we had. Charlotte?
Well, I want to interject here that we had learned about xylitol because we were already doing some other natural products. And the thing about xylitol, once we read about it, was, oh my gosh, we've got to get this to the grandkids. It's so healthy for teeth, healthy for adults, healthy for diabetics. So the first thing we did was we actually ordered xylitol products, candies and mints, and for the kids and the grandkids, and nobody would eat them. They were so bad.
They were bad.
We wouldn't eat them either.
Yeah.
So there's no way a kid would eat enough to get any health benefit. And that's when we looked at each other and said, do we have to do that too? So that's how that all started. And and we were doing home party plans, and that's where people were introduced. Well, it was our own home party plan with our body care products, but that's for another day. But that's how Ice Chips were born.
Yes, and we knew that xylitol was a very healthy product, and the reason it works for teeth is because with xylitol, germs and bacteria can't grow on the surface that is coated with xylitol. So there is a legitimate amount of xylitol that you have to eat each night before you go to bed. And if you do, you are going to have less bad breath, fewer cavities, much less gum disease, and your dentist is going to go, what are you doing? Because you're doing so good.
The thing with our product is that besides the fact that it actually tastes delicious, it is made with 96 to 98% xylitol, pure xylitol, depending on the flavor. And then the other little ingredients are the binders, whereas a lot of the products out there on the market that say they use xylitol can be anything from 5%, maybe, gosh, I don't think they get very strong.
No, probably 8-9% tops.
Yeah, and so that's, I think, the defining thing about our product. Now, that said, xylitol by itself, your body creates xylitol, vegetation creates xylitol. It's just hard to produce it. It's in hardwoods, it comes from corn, different places, but it's hard to extract it, and that does make it the most expensive natural sweetener on the planet.
Extremely expensive. So many times people ask us, why is your candy so expensive? Which technically we don't think it's that expensive. It's $5 a tin for 1.7 ounces. It's a lot of candy if you're eating it in a reasonable amount of candy every day. And it's delicious and great for your teeth. It doesn't take more than 3 or 4 pieces that you keep in your mouth for you to get the benefit your dentist wants you to get.
In fact, speaking of dentists and the benefits, a tin of Ice Chips, just so you know, is 1.76 ounces, and that's 50 grams. Dentists say between 4 and 8 grams of xylitol a day is enough for the benefit. So we look at it and say a tin a week is all it takes.
Exactly.
So that's the product, and hopefully they will show you here some pictures. We didn't bring our mints up for this little video, but here we are. So we created the product. in my one-car garage kitchen that we had converted, and we quickly grew out of that because we were doing body care products there. And then we moved locations. We moved our factory into Bev's 2-car garage, and it was a new house, new garage. That was fine. And her husband built some burners in there. We had sinks in there, and away we went. And how long were we in your garage?
We were in the garage almost a year, and then we knew we had to move. So
Yeah, we had what, five
employees
in there?
plus the 4 of us. So we were all working in the space of a 2-car garage with equipment, a kitchen, and it got pretty crowded pretty quick. So, and we were drying. Remember, we were drying the racks in the house. We were doing it was quite a production. So, and then things started to happen so fast. And we had our first big sales and our first big shipments right out of in the driveway at my house. So,
oh, I have to tell them about that, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Funny story is our first big shipment was 1,500 tins.
Yeah.
And that is a lot. And we got the tins delivered and thought, oh, that's a lot of tins. And it was just the 4 of us, Bev and I and our husbands, on that order. And we sat around Bev's dining room table for what seems like eternity. It was like being in the Groundhog movie, where
Yes.
every day didn't change. And we looked at each other and went, I
hate my life.
It was not fun. It was really difficult, but we were breaking everything by hand. We're pouring everything out on sheets of parchment like peanut brittle, like you would, but then we're hand breaking it into individual sizes, and that's what took absolutely forever. And we were still doing that when we had a couple employees, and then one of them came up with an idea, didn't they? We did a mass break.
Well, my husband
And
came
then
up
late-
with the
then he came up.
with the idea of stainless steel breakers and hammers, and that really helped a lot. We still had to do some hand breaking, and then a friend of ours who was kind of like, was he an engineer? I don't know. He created a machine, and today we use his machine to break the sheets of candy in literally seconds. And how much candy do we do a day now?
Oh, good heavens.
2,600 tins of candy a day.
Yeah. And that would have been impossible to do the way we were doing it. And I have to tell you this, we were measuring everything. We were scooping and measuring and weighing every little container. And then we found out that if we just took an ice cream scoop and were generous, the weight would be correct. Well, that changed things up too.
Dramatically, it sped everything up. But we were very, very, as Charlotte's mother used to say, Santa Clausy. So rather than ever get caught selling a product that wasn't as full as we said, we would overfill. And then we got big enough to get weighing machines that dump from a hopper, and we're very fancy now. And what did we save once? We realized we were giving away a ton of candy.
15%
Yeah,
of the
it's huge.
product. Yeah. And plus we learned another way to cook it to save waste. So there was a lot in the first couple years. Even though we were making sales, we were learning quickly as we went.
Exactly.
And on the sales, we did old-fashioned selling. People ask us, well, how did you get going? Well, we started a system where we did old-fashioned phone calling to individual health food stores. We started with health food stores, knowing that if anybody knew about xylitol 10 years ago, it would be them. And we asked them if they would like to try a sample. We told them about it, and most of them said, yeah, sure, send me the sample. Well, it tasted so good that health food stores jumped on it, and sometimes they sent the orders back before we even got them called back the next week. And so then we got a little sales team, and that's how we got into 2,500 stores across the nation. And about that time one day,
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank called us while we were on another call, actually. No, it was a radio interview.
It was
that?
Como Channel 4.
Yeah, and the guy was there interviewing us, and my phone rings, and Bev hates it when I answer the phone. I'm
And
like,
she answered.
Excuse me. And I go, Bev.
It's Shark Tank.
She goes, what? I went, it's Shark Tank. She goes, what? I said, it's Shark Tank. Oh!
but I'm not deaf.
I'm sorry. We're in an interview. I'll have to call you back. Bang.
It was probably one of the most exciting. That's how our first 3 or 4 years, everything we wanted, everything we needed just happened. It happened. We didn't even have to wish for it. It was just in front of us. It was the people. But what we did make a mistake is we did bring on somebody who ran the company who really didn't know what they were doing. We were great believers in having, and that's what I would tell any entrepreneur to do. Don't get the cart before the horse. Keep your facility small. Don't go out and buy trucks and all the stuff that you need to run a huge business. Remember that you're a startup company, even if you're making a lot of sales. So we were in a great facility that worked for us. We were convinced we needed to move to a huge facility, and we got in way over our head because we had much more space and investment than we needed. So that was a learning curve there.
We'll go back to Shark Tank for the fun of it, because I know you guys want to know a little more, but about moving into the big facility. The main reason we moved into the big facility was so that we could take on big accounts like Rite Aid and Safeway and, Kroger, all that, because you just had to be able to do things differently for that. So,
which is another whole big can of worms
yes.
you just opened.
And so here's a mistake the grannies made, so don't make this mistake. We assumed people bought our candy because it tasted good and they could sell it in their
and it was good for them
and make money, and that it was a win-win for everybody. Well, here's what we didn't know. We didn't know that when you go into that bigger arena, nobody cares if your product is healthy. Nobody cares if it tastes good. Nobody cares if your packaging is beautiful. All they care about is your sales data and what's in it for them. Don't you think?
This is very true. It's very true. We had the wrong perspective and actually the wrong advice. So that was our first real struggle, and it was a struggle. And then we kind of brought things back. We got rid of the person who told us that, who led us down the garden path. All right, we got rid of him. Then we started in creating we went back to our old building, and we were building the business back up, and then COVID hit.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Well, before we do the COVID break, because I'm looking at our clock and we have plenty of time, let's talk about Shark Tank.
Okay, go back to Shark Tank.
Okay, so we went to Shark Tank. We called them back 45 minutes later that day and had a fun phone interview with this gal. And she said, "Oh, you guys have been so much fun to talk to. Can you send us a video?" And we had 3 days to do that video about us, our product, and tell them about our employee.
One of our employees was the camera guy at his church, did the videography. So he said, "I'll do it." And we didn't know what to say. We had not seen another audition video before. We just told our story, and we thought we were being cute and funny. And we had to have it there by Tuesday. It was unbelievable
like
how
72
fast.
hours we had.
So we sent it in.
And it had to be hard. You couldn't just email it. It was the actual jump drive.
Yeah.
So we had it special sent. And then Shark Tank moves fast. It wasn't
They
too
do
long.
very fast.
They got back with us and said, "Oh, we like what we see. Come down." And we're like, "What?" And they sent us the tickets and everything to Penn?
No, we were in the old.
We were in the. So, is it Sony?
Well, it's Sony now.
What
It's called
was it?
Sony Studio. It was the old where Wizard of Oz was
Filmed.
filmed.
Yes.
We were actually in the studio where Wizard of Oz was filmed.
And that's pretty cool when you're walking on the same concrete, knowing that Dorothy was there and all the Munchkins. I mean, that's cool.
It was fun. It was
And
very
then
fun.
Right outside, what were the shows?
Wheel of Fortune
Yes.
Studio and the Jeopardy Studio.
Yes. And that was fun.
And everybody that was there, and what would you say, there were maybe 70 or 80 trying out with us. And remember, that happened every single day. They only film in the month of July, so it had to happen And we had our day, which I forget, we were there in July. Anyway, you had to walk everywhere. You had to walk to the bathrooms. You had everywhere you went, you had to walk. It wasn't a treatment like royalty at all.
And we got picked up every day in vans. And honestly, Bev and I were the oldest ones, and so they let us sit up in the front and were very kind to us.
Patted us on the head, and I know they thought we had crocheted dolls. I know they did. So
And we're looking at them, and they're like GQ people, and they are beautiful. The guys are beautiful. The women are beautiful. I took pictures of all the stilettos. It was crazy.
we thought they must have the best products, probably high tech. We are going to look like we've got crocheted dolls.
But guess what? They had the crocheted dolls.
They had lame products in many cases, and of those 75 to 80 people that were there, maybe 5, maybe 4 made the show.
Yeah.
It isn't easy to get on. You have got to have a good product. You've got to know your product. And that's where we were shining.
Mm-hmm.
We knew our product up and down, left and right. We knew all of our numbers. We knew our inventory. We knew everything. And that is what impressed the sharks.
It was scary, though. People say, was that fun? Was it scary? I say, that was terrifying fun. And we also say, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's replayed, gosh,
I wouldn't
probably
even
40 times by now, or more even.
on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Yes, it's repeated at least 40, if not more.
So people still think it's fresh and new, and they don't know that we've aged. Well, maybe they do. I don't know.
I think they probably know.
But it was very fun, but I was terrified. And, those big double doors that open up on the show, we're standing there, and I'm still like panicked. And then I realized they told a guy to pull on the pulley, and they count down from 7. And when I saw the pulley, it's like, oh, this is like a prop for a play. Okay, I'm good, cool. And that was cool. But when you start through, there's 29 cameras on you at all times from all angles. So you can't pick, scratch, or do anything.
Oh, no. And it's kind of chaotic. I know when you watch the show, Shark Tank, it sounds very uninterrupting. It sounds all very civilized. In reality, they were over talking each other. She was answering questions. I was answering questions to different sharks. It just was a little bit chaotic. But then when they edit, they take out all the other microphones in it. They managed to create something quite wonderful.
If you haven't seen the episode, you can go on our website and scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and there's a spot there. You'll see it. It's pretty funny.
It is.
But anyway, we don't have too much time left, so I guess we better get back to business here.
Okay. All right.
So we're back in the old building now. Let's just say we spent exorbitant amounts of money in the new building and doing everything, and we were there for
almost 5 years. Yeah.
Almost 5 years, and that was not good. And then we're back now, and COVID hit about at the time we got settled into our old new digs.
Exactly. And I will say the benefit that I think that we bring to you is we are very persistent women. And even today, after COVID, after having sent employees home for at least 3 months, because our state is very, very strict about COVID rules, we had to send them home. They got their unemployment and a little bonus every week. The 4 of us that had once been around that dining room table were back making the candy and filling the tins and filling the orders. But I think it was kind of good for us. But I think the credit that we'll take for that is we never gave up. And here, as we can kind of see almost dimly a light at the end of the tunnel, we're still standing. We're still here. We're going through a bunch of new marketing because marketing has changed. The business world, as we knew it, will never, ever be like it was pre-COVID. So we want to encourage you. It's still extremely possible to stay alive, stay in business, and survive every bit that can be thrown at you from all different forms like COVID and job problems and financial turnbacks.
Well, one of the things that they probably don't know is that when you and I started Ice Chips, we were in the middle of that horrible recession.
We were.
And we needed to come up with something because our husbands were contractors and they're different businesses, but everything shut down. They had no work. They were and finishing up some last jobs, and it was like we didn't have a choice. We had to get it to work. Well, it did. We had a good product, so we were back then in the recession. Well, here you guys are, some of you starting businesses, and here we are now in a new challenge 10 years later. And the marketing that we did 10 years ago, with or without COVID or anything else, doesn't work the way it did 10 years ago. It's not quite like that. And so Bev and I, stay tuned for maybe chapter 2 here, because we don't exactly know how we are going to guide our ship out of this year into marketing. We know that a lot of our stores have had to close because of COVID that we were in. And we also know that some were burnt to the ground, unfortunately, in cities. And so a lot of our business was wiped away. And we are working now to strategize and come up with
It's a brand new world.
marketing.
Yeah, it's a brand new world. And it's going to be a lot more direct to consumer. We are looking at things I don't know that we ever thought. We have an Amazon distributor. I mean, we have one person we allow to sell on Amazon, because initially we had several people without our permission selling on Amazon. We had to go in and clean that out, allow one person to do it, and forbid anyone else to come in and sell ice chips on Amazon. And that's in our contracts today, that no one can sell on Amazon they just can't do it because only one person's allowed.
Now, if you go on Amazon, you're going to go, well, that's not true because so-and-so and so. Yeah, you're going to find a handful on there selling. We've probably already sent them letters. And
Right. Well, and some stores have their own website.
And that's totally different.
That is. They're
Totally different.
If they have their
And
own
that's
store
fine.
and they're an they're an Amazon customer and they also sell ice chips, they can sell them.
Yes.
As
yes.
part of their own website and their own Amazon account. So it may look like there's more, but really only one person is allowed to sell ice chips on Amazon.
So here we are at this age, and we are delving deep into Facebook and Instagram for business use. That's not the only platform. I don't want to be stuck there either,
I don't either.
but we have to understand it. So at this age, that's something we're working to understand, and we've stayed pretty techie all along. And that's kind of important too. And we did try to hire out our weak areas. That came back to bite us, but there's certain things we still need help with because I don't care. There's certain technical things we're not going to learn.
Right. Yeah, our first 5 years were pretty much unchallenged. Every good thing, like Shark Tank, things just happened for us. And life is life, and eventually it was going to come down to the fact that we had to make good choices, and we didn't always do that, especially after we got a little bit cocky, I think, when everything did work. But now we're understanding every decision. We have to keep our hand and our mind sharp on every detail of our company, and we will never trust someone other than the four of us to make decisions and run our company wholly and totally ever again. And so that's a good thing to know. No one will ever care as much about your business as you care about your business.
I know we only have a couple minutes left here, but I was thinking today, Bev, remember when we used to go to big places and they'd do questions and answers with us afterwards?
Yes, I know what you're going to
say. And they would say, they'd ask us, excuse me, and we'd go, yes, you. And their question would be, well, what has been the hardest thing? Or what was really awful? And we'd turn to each other and we'd go,
oh, nothing.
Nothing.
This might be the cocky part. Because in the beginning it wasn't, and every possible good thing happened for
Yeah.
us. But now we're a lot smarter, and if you ever have business questions, trust me, we're going to have way better solutions for you than we did our first 5 years.
well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope this helps. And we will be live after this is over on this today to be able there to answer questions for you.
Exactly.
So we'll see you later. Thank
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Tom Hughes. I'm Development Chair at SCORE Greater Seattle and the moderator for this morning's panel. Our goal today is simple. We hope you will walk away inspired by something, an idea, a fresh perspective, a new strategy, something that you can apply to make yourself more successful in your own business, whatever stage it's in. A quick reminder before we get started, you can view panelist bios and business information over in the speaker portal. And then please join us at the Small Business Awards Gala tonight at 6 p.m. All of our panelists are featured in the program tonight, and we can all celebrate their success. And finally, I encourage you to ask questions via the chat feature. And we have a section in here where we'll take questions from the audience, and we'll have different panelists answer them. So with that, I'd like to start introducing our panelists. And the first one is Olga Sagan. Olga is the owner of Piroshki in Seattle's Pike Place Market. Olga is the SBA's 2020 Small Business Person of the Year for Washington State. Welcome, Olga. Where are you joining us from today? And describe yourself in one word.
Oh my, good morning, Tom. I'm joining you from my daughter's bedroom on Capitol Hill. So right in the heart of our beautiful Seattle. And describe myself in one word. I think that definition has changed this year. And I want to call myself unstoppable.
Love it. Thank you. Our next panelist is Cy Oatridge. Cy is CEO of Oatridge Security Group in Tacoma, and he's the SBA 2020 8A Graduate of the Year for the Seattle District, the Pacific Northwest, and the National Graduate of the Year. Congratulations, Cy. Where are you joining us from today? And describe yourself in one word, please.
Thanks, Tom. I'm joining us from Tacoma. So I would probably say that first word that comes to mind is tenacious, although some people would say I'm very persistent.
Okay. Thank you, Cy. Our next panelist is John Hanna. John is president of Pacific Valley Foods in Bellevue, and they are the SBA's 2020 Exporter of the Year for the Seattle District and for the Pacific Northwest region. Welcome, John. Where are you joining us from today? Can you describe yourself in one word, please?
Thank you, Tom. Today I'm coming to you from our conference room at our office in Bellevue. And I think for the export business, energetic would have to be the word.
Excellent, thank you. And our next panelist is Matt Purcell, president of PCI Pest Control in Olympia, and the SBA's 2020 Veteran-Owned Business of the Year for the Seattle District. Welcome, Matt. Where are you joining us from today? And can you describe yourself in one word for our audience?
Hey, good morning. I am coming to you from my kitchen table in beautiful Olympia, Washington. And my first thought was tenacious, but I think that might be taken. So I'm going to go with optimistic.
I don't think anybody has dibs on any of these, so. Okay, and our next panelist is Sam Franklin. Sam is the CEO of greenvelope.com in Seattle and is the SBA's 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year for the Seattle District. Welcome, Sam. Where are you joining us from today? And describe yourself in one word.
Hello, I'm joining from Kauai, Hawaii today. And I would say one word for me is focused.
Awesome. Thanks for getting up so early to join us. I know it's a couple hours earlier in Hawaii.
No problem.
Susie Jensen. Susie is owner of Wheelline Cider in Ellensburg and is the SBA's 2020 Rural Small Business of the Year for the Seattle District. Welcome, Susie. Where are you joining us from today? And please describe yourself in one word.
Morning. I'm a snowbird, so I'm in Southern California, Dana Point, and the one word that I would use is creative.
Excellent. Well, thank you all. Okay, with that, we're going to break our panelists into two separate groups. And we're going to ask each of the panelists a series of questions. And once we finish going through both groups, then we'll take audience questions. Again, I'll remind everyone, please submit your questions through the chat feature, and we'll get to those shortly. So this first question is for Cy. Cy, how do you define success for you and your business?
Well, it's a great question, Tom. I started my business in 2003, and when I started, I had a different measurement. I had to go at least over 6 months without a salary. And so my first measurement was being able to draw a salary. And then it became revenue, and then it became clients. And now as we continue to scale up as a business, I find that it's based more on culture and relationships with my clients and staff.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. This next one's for John. John, 95% of your business is done overseas through exporting. What is one way the COVID-19 pandemic impacted your business, and how have you adapted?
Well, the first thing we had to quickly, when nobody was allowed to come into the office, we had to quickly get everybody set up for to be able to work remotely. And thankfully, since I've always had a love for computers, we were 90% of the way there, and quickly we were able to function at 100% remotely. And the next challenge was obviously sales were affected in the food business. A majority of our sales are food service to restaurants. So we had to quickly focus. And while it doesn't happen overnight, we changed a lot of our products to retail. And so again, you can't get into a supermarket overnight, but it will set us up for the future as well. We've moved some items to the retail. Another challenge, of course, some of our customers are having struggles with payments. We have extended terms, cash flow became a challenge. So we have made some adjustments in those areas with payment terms, with kind of becoming a bit more conservative in what we're giving on payment terms now.
Okay, well, thank you. Sounds like you've had to do quite a bit of pivoting, is what I see. This question is for Olga. Olga, what's your favorite part of running your business?
There is a lot, and of course, seeing my employees, seeing customers, but as I was thinking through it more and more, I think the biggest joy is education. And if 20 years ago, I would say not everyone, well, most people didn't know what piroshkis are, at least in Seattle area. Now I have not yet met the person in at least close to Seattle that would know what piroshkis are. And I will take full responsibility for that knowledge, because in the last 28 years, we've been going over and over and over at what kind of food it is and how you eat it and what's good about it. And I think as a business owner, bringing a new food group to masses in a city is a biggest joy in running my business.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you did that, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, this next question is for John. John is a successful entrepreneur. How do you balance focusing on you and your business and making time to mentor other small businesses?
Well, I think the value to mentor small business is massive. I wish, 30 years ago when I started, I wish I had, a organization or group I could call with just simple questions. It really, for the value of answering one or two questions, it takes very little time and can help to help a small business or somebody trying to get into the export business, helps them get to the end result much faster than it took me 30 years ago. And to make time, there's always there. It's a very small sacrifice for such a huge reward.
Great. Well, thank you for doing that. Cy, you have a 95% customer retention rate for 2019. What do you attribute your success to?
Well, Tom, if you don't know the answer to the question of what's the most important thing in business, let me be the first to tell you it's relationships. And relationships are built on trust and communication. And I think that's the most important thing to our retention.
Agreed. John, has your definition of success for your business changed over time? And if so, how?
I would have to say when I first came into the business, it was very short term. My definition of success was revenues and income. Over the years, we developed a set of KPIs that, of course, we still follow today, but now it's becoming much more holistic. In our business, we focus on relationships. We deal with, we export to 20 some different countries, and there's a different culture in every country. So the first thing we focus on and we feel is successful is to create these long-lasting relationships, which also, helps us for longevity and customer retention.
Great, thank you. Olga, how has being an immigrant to America impacted your business ownership?
Sorry about that. It's a very good question, and it's a very rough question. I think it doesn't impact it a lot. So I feel for immigrants, first of all, United States is the best place to do business in. And I will say over and over, and I will stand by it, no matter what people say about United States, you can make it. You can make it here. You can come here as an immigrant, and then you can be an SBA Business Owner of the Year. And you can go as far as you can and as far as you want in the United States. On the other hand, it might take you longer. It might take you much longer because the English language is a second language for me. The understanding of things, how things work. When I arrived here, I did not know what baseball is. And I went to high school, they threw me to this gym class and people were playing baseball and I had this stick in my hand and I did not know what to do with it. So I think the cultural learning takes a little longer. Everything else takes a little longer, but being an immigrant gives you that, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna survive. And United States is definitely the best place to do it. It again just takes a little longer.
Thank you. Love your story. We're now gonna go to our second group of panelists for Q&A. And this first one is for Matt. Matt, what does success look like for your business?
Thank you for that question. Originally, success looked like, could I please find a customer today? And can I find one tomorrow? I started this company with 0 customers and not a franchise. So it was just kind of a get it going and get it up off the ground. And that, definition of success has changed many times over the years. For a long time, it was, what should a business look like? How do I run a business? When I started getting coaching from the SBA, it really opened up my world of what success means as a business owner. I really did not know how to properly price my services, how to do good market research, how to write a business plan. So many things were involved in that phase. And now today, success for my company is all about the team. When the team shows up, and they show up in a way that they give the customer a wow experience, that is success. When my team shows up and they actually are considerate of each other and asking the question, how do I help my team succeed? And then they are there, we collaborate on research projects, we go out and we solve problems for customers. And sometimes there's a new problem that's never been discussed or discovered for a technician, an employee. At times like that, thank goodness for technology, just like the Zoom meeting we're doing right now. We don't Zoom, but we do get on chats and we send pictures back and somebody's out there saying, hey, what's this bug? Because they've never seen it, and that happens. There's like millions of bugs out there. And, it's just wonderful to see the team show up for each other, take time to help each other out. And one practice that we have observed for a number of years now is we call it the gotcha. And every 2 weeks we have a staff meeting and we collect gotchas in between meetings. And a gotcha is when one team member notices another team member doing something right. And it could be something right for a customer, and that resulted in a phenomenal feedback, Google review. that really shows that the customer had a wow experience. Or it could be that a teammate, showed up for them in a way that made their day better, covered a job when they got behind, or came alongside and helped them out at a job. So, for us, today, success looks like, when does the team show up really strong for our customers and for each other?
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. This question's for Susie. Susie, can you give me one example of how you've managed to create a new business opportunity because of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Again, this is really an exciting question for me. We collaborated with KOA. It's Kampgrounds of America in Ellensburg. And on Friday evening, we did cider tastings for them. And so when the guests come in, camping became much more popular with COVID. It was your only chance to get out kind of for a while. And so they would have a tasting, and then they were looking for something to do. So they'd come out to the cidery and take a tour of the orchard and the production facilities. We got to educate them about it. And then the other interesting thing was, campers, the refrigerators are really small. So it's packed with food, not with liquor. And so they have a little general store, and they have become one of our biggest wholesalers because we sell them cider and they in turn sell it to their customers. So it's been a growth in wholesale business because the bars and the restaurants have closed dramatically or shut down quite a bit in terms of their buying. And it also brought people out to the cidery, and we were able to have a wonderful retail sales as well. So it's been a real exciting new approach for us.
Wonderful. Thanks, Susie. Sam, this one's for you. Your business has seen 30 to 40% growth year over year while serving a very specific niche in the market, high-end digital invitations. What do you attribute your success to?
Well, I think there's a couple primary reasons that I'd attribute this 30 to 40% growth. One is we're lucky that we're in an industry where there's a lot of built-in virality. So when a customer sends out invitations and cards, perhaps hundreds or thousands to their recipients, this allows hundreds of guests to see our product in action and perhaps become customers later. So we see a lot of new business come from recipients of our Greenvelope cards and invitations. And then the other reason that I would attribute to the success is good customer service. And that's always been a core value from the beginning, when it was just me working from my college dorm room between classes, answering phone calls and emails from customers. And I think that's some way that we've really differed from our competitors, in that we have always had phone customer service, live chat. And this is really important for wedding invitations and business events. You can't wait 48 hours to get a response if your wedding invitation goes out with a mistake on it or something. So I think that's built a lot of loyalty with our customers, and in turn, they tell their friends and colleagues about our product. And so we see a lot of customers coming from referrals.
Excellent. Thank you. Back to you, Susie. What's your definition of success for you and your business?
Well, I'm part of the generation that are considered lifelong learners, and I also had parents that grew up in the Depression. So one of my definition is a strong commitment, but it's also a strong work ethic, and I attribute that to my parents. I've been known for my perseverance to keep slugging through. When I get turned down with something or hit another roadblock, I just keep, and I think that's my art background, that I have a creative approach, that there's another approach that's possible. There isn't just one way. So I think the commitment and the perseverance is very important. Every year we've been able to increase our sales. I've increased my employee base every year, and I've also increased my size of the orchard. So that's been good. And I think what I'd really like to see is Central Washington, or having us become more of a destination for cider. Washington is obviously famous for its apples, but I'd like it also to become famous for hard cider too. We've done a wonderful job of introducing wine, and I think the cider industry is equally as important, and it will be a wonderful growth opportunity for us. And I'd like to be one of the founding companies and orchards that that are promoting this for Washington.
Excellent, thank you. Matt, how have you applied the values you learned in the Army to your business?
Well, if I may, let me just start by saying what are the Army values? And there's 7 of them. And they're loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And for me, I'd just like to focus on duty and integrity. And they have definitely transferred well to working as a self-employed individual. And for duty, you know, it's just simply meaning that you're totally committed to get the job done. In the military, we focus on a mission and everybody is clear, like, why are we here? What's this all about? What are we supposed to do? And what am I doing to get this job done? And so carrying that into the civilian world, you know, it was always important to me to simply show up on time. And something just that simple translates really well in the world of what I call the civilian world, because I had 20 years in the military world. In the civilian world, people seemed really impressed if you just simply got there on time when you made an appointment. I thought, wow, that's just like automatic in the military. And you know, so we talk about doing the right thing no matter what. It's one of the core values that we've actually printed up, put on a board, and hung it on the wall. And we talk about it as a team at PCI. And it translates kind of like the sense of duty. It's like, do the right thing no matter what. You know, show up on time, be ready to go to work, have your gear all set and prepped and ready to go. And just be really clear that you're committed to show up for that customer in a way that totally answers their problem, solves their problem, and delivers value to the customer. And I think, you know, my sense of duty that I picked up in the military, it's easy for me to talk about things in that way to my team, that they kind of get what's really important here. What's the big mission? You know, we have a core focus, another one of those things that we sat down, thought about, and came up with a sentence to put on the wall. And, you know, it says, our core focus at PCI Pest Control is to protect and improve our community's health and wellness. And we just try to remember, this is what we're about. You know, why are we here? We're here to protect health, give people a better, cleaner, safer, happier, healthier home. And that goes a long ways. The other thing is integrity. It's talked about a lot in the military, and in my company, we just translate it simply to say, do the right thing no matter what. That's always going to be the right answer. If you're ever in a situation where you're not clear about option A or option B, just think about long-term, what's the right thing? How would you want this to be resolved if you were the customer? And do the right thing no matter what. If we consistently do that, we're going to win.
Excellent. I can feel your 20 years of background in the Army coming out. That's great. Sam, you obtained an SBA guaranteed loan to acquire and renovate your building. Why did you do an SBA backed loan instead of a regular commercial loan with a bank?
Well, we had been renting office space. We've been in 3 or 4 office spaces. So the idea of owning our own office, we could build custom to our needs at one point, was very exciting for us. When looking at how to make this happen, the SBA was a good fit because it required a smaller down payment than a traditional commercial loan and still had really competitive rates. And so it likely wouldn't have been feasible for us with a commercial loan with the high down payments at the point we were in our business to buy our building. And in addition, having that extra money without the higher down payment allowed us to keep more money for the business, to expand, put into marketing, and continue to grow. So it was a really good fit for us in that sense, from a financial perspective. And then another silver lining that came out of it is I had never really worked with the SBA, and that provided a nice introduction. And I've used the SBA for other resources since then, and it's been a really good program for entrepreneurs.
Excellent. Okay. Back to Matt. Matt, how does your company give back to your local community?
We love to give back to our community. It's also one of our core values, is that we make our community a better place. One of the things that we like to do is team-based activities. And prior to the onset of the pandemic, we would actually completely shut down operations for a day. And we would partner with a local nonprofit in the community, and we all show up en masse as a big group and just volunteer. And that could look like cleaning gutters or handing out food at a food bank or setting up a booth for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life activity, and on and on and on. So we were thrilled to do that. We love to do that. We want to have a culture at PCI that the team knows that they're here for more than just simply trading time for money, and that we're actually trying to proactively and creatively impact our community in a better way. And also because of the fact that, we are mostly one guy in a truck driving out around town by himself, it's just great to have a team activity like that once in a while. So it answers a lot of needs for us. We also, routinely donate services. We give away thousands of dollars of services every year to local nonprofits. It could be like a high school scholarship fund. There's just a bazillion activities and charities that we just routinely give to. People call us up, we give them a certificate, they put it in their auction, and it's always a fun way to meet potentially a new client. But even if they don't become a ongoing client, it's always a pleasure to help other community activities and help them win. The last one that I did want to mention was we got involved in a local literacy project through the North Thurston High School, or not the high school, but North Thurston School District. And it's a program they do once a year called Read Around Lacey. And kids from the schools that want to participate sign up, and they show up at different businesses that are also hosting these events. And they will actually walk into your office, this for like 2-3 minutes, they'll sit down in a chair and read part of a book that they're reading out loud to you to kind of share their love and passion for reading. And then we have a chance as a business to talk to them just briefly about how reading is important as a business owner and how important it is to read. And that's just a great project. That was something that was initiated by somebody within our own team. It wasn't my idea. They had heard about this program because they had kids in the district, and they asked the question, can we do this here? Can we be a host as part of this? And the answer was, of course, yes. We want to be the type of company that recognizes we get our livelihood from our community, and it's only appropriate to look for ways to give back.
Excellent. I've one editorial comment. I've listened to a lot of you, and when you started your business, it was all about just trying to get some revenue in and get a paycheck. And then I hear all these comments about team and giving back to the community, and it's very inspirational to see the progression for each of you. Okay, so Susie, you're one of the few women-owned cideries with your own orchard in the US. How has being a female entrepreneur in this industry impacted your business ownership?
It's been a wonderful opportunity to network. It's opened up a lot of wonderful doors, and I think the most powerful form of marketing is word of mouth, to be honest with you. On a very small scale, we open up our cidery and we don't charge for use of the facility at all. And we've had crafters, people, women who are, for the most part, they're women, who are talented and want to teach how to do something. And we call them Sip and Create. It's kind of a takeoff on Sip and Paint type of a program. But over the winter, when the tasting room is closed, this has been a wonderful opportunity for them. They coordinate the entire thing. We aren't involved with any of the marketing or any of that. And it gives them a place to, I'm going to say, have a business, a very small business, but to get started. It's been very successful. On a little larger scale, because of COVID, we ended up having an outdoor art exhibit with one of the local painters. She's very well known, second generation in Ellensburg. And we had a wonderful 3 days of exhibitry and of her work. She sold a lot of paintings. We did very well. But the fun part for me was she was one of the founding members of Plein Air Society. So she invited these gals. They came out and they painted on site. And for the families that came, kids had never seen painters painting on site. And that was just very exciting. And it was a win-win for everyone. We're already talking about our next art exhibit next year. So that was exciting. On a much larger scale, I did a mailing to women-owned businesses, and I ended up with about a 2% response. And I had offered a 4-pack for the Christmas holidays to give to their top salespeople or managers or their clients, top clients, however they wanted to do that. And I got a very good response, but then it had one more kind of kick behind it as well. One of the gals was so excited about it, she ended up doing an e-blast and focused on Wheel Line Cider and focused on, pairings for Thanksgiving and what a wonderful fun drink this would be in the fall. And that would certainly help boost our online sales. So we're real excited about the whole networking process that goes on. And I have found women to be very, very supportive of each other. So that's been very exciting for us.
Excellent. Thank you. And Sam, what does success look like for your business?
Well, I think as you've picked up on, there seems to be kind of a trend here in the panel where this definition really changes the longer you have the business. I think that's the same for me. When I started this business, I was in college. I really wasn't, I was asked by a mentor, what does success look like for you? And I said, I'd be happy if I sold, 2 or 3 packages, 2 or 3 sales a week. And he said, Sam, you're crazy. You have to make a few sales a day. And I was like, oh, well, I'd be really happy about that. And now we're making hundreds of sales a day. And so I think in terms of my initial definition of success, we've far surpassed that, and I feel very fortunate. I think the new definition, similar to the other panelists, is looking forward, success means continuing to work together efficiently and in a positive, enjoyable way as a team, and it's all about happy employees and happy customers. And I think continuing to focus on that and culture as we continue to grow more Greenvelopes out there in the world as well at the same time.
Excellent. Thanks, Sam. Okay, this question's for John. We're doing audience questions now, everybody, just so you know. This one's for John. Mentoring consulting through chamber relationships, ? I think they're trying to understand who you're mentoring, and is it through through a chamber of commerce or your own network or what?
Well, it's a combination. I do know that SCORE's got a great mentorship program. I've also been referred multiple times. I'll get contacted and say, so-and-so, friend of a friend suggested I contact you with regards to, I want to get into exports. Having some challenges with whether it's shipping, whether it's export finance terms, whether it's, and I think there's some fantastic programs out there. I think anybody either getting into business or anybody that's got questions should definitely, I think everybody should have a mentor. But it's just a great way to avoid a lot of potential challenges, because in every business there's challenges, but in international business, there's a lot of unknowns, and the challenges and problems tend to be a lot more expensive when you run into things internationally. So yeah, I think it's, I highly recommend going through, like I said, the SBA, SCORE, one of these groups that have the mentorship program, or just reaching out to, don't be shy to reach out to somebody with experience in certain fields and get your questions answered.
Excellent, thank you. This next question is for Olga. Olga, what made you choose Seattle as your market for a brand new food group? How did you get past and how did you get past the intimidation of an unfamiliar market?
That's a lot to unfold. I think it was just a coincidence. I moved here when I was 16 and my dad moved here when I was 2. So I was 16 years old, no English. And I realized I only have 2 years to get my citizenship legally. So because my dad was a citizen, so I ended up in Seattle, and I ended up being involved in Piroshkis. And let me tell you, 20 years ago, Piroshki was a tiny little shop with very little customers, and every single customer is like, what the heck is it? And there is Russian-American relationship. it was funky. It was funky in the beginning, for sure. But I think Seattle and Pike Place Market itself is a welcome environment for startups. Doesn't matter what startup you are. I mean, look at our economy here in Washington State, in Seattle, right? We have so many people coming here from United States, from around the globe, and they are welcome to start things up, and people are so supportive of it. So I think that was part of looking back. You know, you have to always look back. It's hard to realize it while you're doing it, but looking back, I feel that was the biggest part of why and how and why it worked.
Excellent. Thank you, Olga. Just a reminder to our audience, go ahead and submit any questions you have via the chat, and we'll just go through as many of them as we can get through in the time allowed. This next question, we're actually going to ask each of the panelists because that's what the question is. And so I'll start with Matt, but everybody will go around and ask you all to answer this question. And the question is, I would love to know how you began growing your business from 0 clients to where you are now. Do you have any tips for a new business owner to start growing? So we'll each answer that question, starting with you, Matt.
Yes, thank you. Earlier you asked one word to describe yourself, and I said optimistic. So number one is be optimistic. If you don't believe that you're going to find success, it's going to be difficult to identify it when it shows up in front of you. Success can look so many different ways. The important thing is just believe that you're going to win. You're going to find success and take action. You know, it's simple to daydream about what it is that you want. The harder thing is to actually connect action that makes a difference to fulfill that desire. So trust me, no matter what it is that you're selling or making or delivering, there is a market out there waiting to have it. And go get that market. Just ask yourself questions. You know, ask the right question is so powerful in life. If you don't have a customer, start asking questions. If you can't find the answer, find a friend and ask them the question. Collectively, everybody knows somebody and everybody knows something. So if you're wondering where the customers are, great, ask the question. Matt, where are the customers? And just start answering the question. And don't forget one thing that Susie said from the cider company is networking. Networking is so powerful because everybody knows somebody and they know people you don't know and will never know. And for me, that's how I really started my company, is by networking. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I joined the Rotary. I joined anything and everything that I could. And I didn't show up with the question, how could you help me? And I need a customer. But I showed up with a different question, which is, how can I help you? And mindset is powerful. Mindset is everything. And when you show up to a small group of people and you ask the question, you know, how can I help you be successful? What is an ideal customer for you? I'd like to know, because if I run across that person, I want to give them your name. And by the way, give me your card, please. How can I help you? And when you show up that way often enough, people will naturally reciprocate. People like to work with people that they like to work with when they can. So show up in a way that's helpful and supportive, and be patient too. I know Tom from Oak Ridge, forgive me if I get your sigh, but you know, he talked about not drawing a paycheck for a long time. That's not easy. And thankfully I had my military retirement to work with, but be patient. You know, self-gratification, you just need to be patient. You're going to get your payoff down the road, but put in the foundation, put in the hard work. Don't quit asking for business, but do it in a way that is not offensive. Keep showing up, you know, keep asking questions, keep offering to be of value to other people, and trust that down the road, it's all going to snowball in a way that just overwhelms you. I mean, for years now, I've been trying to solve the problem. How do we respond to so many people that need help? It doesn't matter. I hire another person and we're still a week to 2 weeks out. It's just amazing. But there was a time where I looked through my appointment book and I thought, man, I am going to starve. There's no appointments on my appointment book. Just got to jump in there, start taking action, and don't be afraid to try something different and new. And when you find the one that works, keep doing it.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Okay, so I'm going to back off of what I said earlier because I don't think we'll have time for everybody to answer these questions, but I'll allow one more person to answer it. I'm going to call on Cy for this question, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. And I hope the audience is okay with that, but there's more questions and I want to be fair to everybody to try to get all the questions answered. So again, Cy, would love to know how you began growing your business from 0 clients to where you are now. Do you have any tips for a new business owner to start growing?
Well, Tom, that's a great question. I remember when I started how much fear and trepidation I had, wondering where my clients were going to come from. And I started off with one client, and I leveraged that one client in the marine security industry to where I started getting introduced and asking to be introduced to other shipping agencies around the waterfront. And then that led to more, and I found myself with over 15 clients just in that one security industry. And then through there, it's just really similar to what Matt was saying. It was relationships, other business relationships, and letting them know that I'm in business and I'd like your help in providing security services for your business. And so it was really fearful in the beginning, but as time evolved and as Matt said, staying after it, being persistent, other clients will come if you're doing everything right and doing a great job.
Excellent, thank you. This next question I'm going to open up to the panelists. Just give me a cue if you want to answer it, but it's for businesses that do B2B sales, business to business sales versus business to consumer. Says, for those of you that do business with other businesses, what tips do you have for being successful in B2B sales versus B2C sales? John, I thought that, well, I was going to call on you if you didn't raise your hand, John.
I'd have to say, being an international business, obviously, the basics of business, do very good credit checks, check their financial background, do all your due diligence to make sure they're a financially sound company. They have a website, the list goes on. In our business, hate to sound like CNN, but go there. That's their motto. Go to see them. In our business relationships, you've got to get to know them, and especially internationally. I was told by a good friend of mine when we started doing business in China, he says, you won't do a pound of business here until you get to know the culture, until you get to know them. There's certain countries, they say, we won't buy anything from you until we get to know you. So go there, have dinner with them outside the business, get to know them personally. But I think B2B, that's the most important, is relationships.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Susie.
I'd like to say service. When I get a request from a bar or a cidery or a tasting cidery, they need it now, and they like to hear, I've been known to get in the car and drive 2.5 hours over to Tacoma to drop something off. But it's service. They need it now. And then you are building that relationship. I think the relationship is critical, whether it's foreign or the United States. And that relationship, they know they can count on my giving their product when they need it. And I think it's very important to provide outstanding service and to develop a relationship.
Okay, thank you. This one, I'll open it up to whoever wants to jump in first, probably let a couple of you speak on it. What is your social media engagement like? And do you manage it yourself or do you pay someone for it? Who'd like to take that one? Olga.
Dang, did we underestimate that social media engagement 6 months ago? So I think in a life of COVID, you have to revisit that. If you haven't been doing it before, you have to start yesterday. And I think that's the big thing. We failed as a bakery. I failed as a business owner not to focus at it much way back. If I could have done it way back, I would have been much far ahead right now. So if you're a business to customer, if you're B2C, that social media engagement is huge right now. It can make it and break it for you. So get on it, start learning it. I do it myself. I reply to customers myself a lot of the time. I would say 30%, which is a lot because we have a lot of engagement. Anytime customer comes in unhappy, my team calls me and say, hey, Olga, I think you should take that because we really need a special attention to that customer. And I will go ahead and I will call them myself off my cell phone saying, hey, I'm sorry, we messed up. I'm sorry we didn't do a good job. What can I do to make it better? And I myself sometimes would get in the car, as Susie was saying, and I'm gonna drive the delivery we missed myself. And that customer will be my customer forever. So pay attention to social media, pay attention to what people are talking to you about, reply to them, apologize if it's bad. It's okay to say, we messed up. It's okay to say, hey, is there anything I can do to bring you back as a happy customer? And they will tell you that. And the faster you do it, the better you're gonna get an outcome. My team knows that if there is a customer who is not happy, I need to know right away because you don't wanna wait on that. It will get damaged. There will be damage done if you're waiting on that. I guess that's my 2 cents on social media.
I think it's worth more than 2 cents. Very, very
Thank
good.
you.
How about one other panelist want to respond on social media? And do you handle it yourself or someone in your company, or do you outsource it?
I can take a stab at that.
Okay.
I think for us, we mostly focus on Instagram with our invitations. So much of our product is visual, and so that's a good medium for us. And we manage it in-house, but it isn't as big of a acquisition channel for us as perhaps like a local business. We do a lot of our marketing is on Google AdWords, so that's a really good avenue for us because people are Googling email invitations, they're looking for it now, and that is a really good conversion channel for us. Whereas Instagram is likely better if it's like a product you could buy at any time in your life. Our product is so specific as to when someone needs it that for us, like advertising us on social media hasn't been as effective for our business model as on Google AdWords or something. So that's an avenue that online businesses might want to explore further.
Okay, thank you. Olga, this one's back to you. How has COVID impacted your business in Pike Place Market?
Oh, tremendously. I think from the beginning, we went down 80% of sales, and going down 80% in a matter of a week is shocking to any business owner. On one hand, the COVID was the worst thing that happened to hospitality industry because they wiped out most of Seattle businesses. Giants like Tom Douglas, is downsized, and it is a tremendous hit for hospitality industry. We had a huge celebration this month. We were able to go back to 50% of last year's sales in Pike Place Market. So, which is still a long way to go, but we're ready for it. I feel that, but what it gave us is understanding and knowledge to what have we done incorrectly, such as social media, such as talking to our customers, focusing more on local customers. Pike Place Market spoiled us with all the tourists and all these lines. No, our customers are everywhere, including local customers. And how do we find appreciation for that? So I think I don't want to say I'm grateful to COVID because this is just not the right thing to say, but I'm going to take that silver lining and I'm going to do my business differently.
Excellent. Thank you. This is for any of our panelists, and it's where were you able to pinpoint your key differentiator up front, or did it take time? John.
Honestly, I don't think we're completely there. I think it's always evolving. In fact, a year or two ago, we embarked on a journey of sorts to try to figure out, after 45 years, who are we? You know, that's the big question. Who have we become? Where did we come from? Are we the company we used to be? We're not. We're evolving, but are we going the right direction? So I think it all comes back in our business. We all, at the end of the day, we talk for an hour and we all come back to the same thing, and that's relationships. Our company, while it's not completely different than a lot of businesses out there, we really, at the end of the day, we sell a lot of different products, and we're not just out at the end of the day just selling a product. I think our success comes from building relationships. We've had some customers. I've had a customer in China for 23 years. That's as important to maintain your current distribution as going out and finding new customers. You have to do both. You can't just forego your current business, say, I've got them, I'm going to go look for new ones. You have to, it's a fine balance. But for us, at the end of the day, it's relationships. And that's what we're going to, like I said, it's not completely different than a lot of companies out there, but it's something that we really work on. And we're going to, I think, as long as we're around, we'll continually ask that question to ourselves.
Excellent. Okay. Actually, this ties right into the next question. And I'm going to run this one past either Cy or Matt. I'll ask the question. One of you raise your hands and let me know if you want to answer it. But the audience heard about both of you mentioning relationships, and it says, how do you build lasting relationships for returning clients? So either Cy or Matt.
Returning clients.
Cy raised his hand first. I'll go for you, Cy.
Well, I think the obvious thing about lasting relationships is trust, communication, and character, as I said earlier. And people don't care about what you have to say until they know you care. And sometimes we forget those things. And so it's important to make sure that you're completely committed to your business and to the relationships of your customers and employees. And the one thing, if you don't mind, I wanted to add something John was just talking about to the entrepreneurs out there. When you're scaling up your business, there will be plateaus at different levels, whether you measure those plateaus by revenue or employees, the amount of employees. But you need to understand that as your business is scaling up, you will have to be agile to make different decisions or learn different things to be successful.
Thanks, Cy. And a follow-up to you on this very thing. What is your follow-up process for clients for client retention?
Our follow-up with clients is, I think it's mostly just been about keeping in touch with them. And probably the biggest thing I learned early on in my life was making sure that your customers and clients are your friends, that you treat them like your friends and family. And that keeps the communication open. And once they have that, they know that you are exuding that, it will make a big difference.
Excellent, thank you. And this next question, we'll let any of the panelists answer, except for Sam, because it says, how do you deal with a family/employees who are younger and difficult to communicate with? And since Sam's our Young Entrepreneur of the Year, I think you're excluded from this one. Okay, Matt, we'll let you answer.
Yeah, I am a family operated business, and I have learned some lessons the hard way. And So that's a great question. And I feel like the important thing, and one of the lessons I've learned, is to really look at your business as like what serves the business best. And when it comes to like employee counseling, if it's family, and you cannot lose that. But at the same time, there's got to be a sense of fairness across the board, and you got to look at them like an employee. And the question that you might want to consider asking is what we're talking about, how does it impact the team? You know, we're here for a reason. It's to deliver service to the customer, and your behavior is having an impact, good, neutral, or negative. Let's talk about the behavior. Let's try to leave the emotional part out of it. And let's talk about how does this impact the team? Or is your behavior actually making the team better? Or is your behavior holding the team back from an overall team win? And I think for me, that was one hard lesson I had to learn, was think about taking the emotion out and treating people the same. You can't expect more out of one employee because they're a family member. And at the same time, you can't excuse any behavior as being okay because they're a family member, because that will definitely ruin the team cohesiveness.
Thank you, Matt. This one's for Olga. Olga, how do you do your deliveries? Do you have software to schedule deliveries?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So in the last 6 months, I was one of the old school business owners who hated technology. Absolutely could not stand the technology. Our website was the most embarrassing website for customers, even though we used it very heavily on the back end. And then when COVID hit, I'm like, okay, everything is going online. So we created actually Catch-22 market platform for small businesses that want to connect to their customers directly. And on ourselves, we created the most incredible tools to do deliveries, to do pop-ups. We route them ourselves. It's our own drivers who deliver it. So in technology wise, I think I moved 7 years in about 5 months. And we still have bugs, we still have some issues, but we do everything in-house. Orders are coming in, we are filling them, we're going out, everything is done on our own custom-made platform that we're trying to scale and introduce to other businesses, because my feeling, if I can do it, anybody else can do it. And to just give you an example, and it took a long time and a lot of mistakes, but this weekend we did 300 online deliveries over the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which is a huge number from being at 0 6 months ago.
Well, a great example of pivoting, as we've talked about. Related to that question, this is for anybody, any of our panelists. What has been your biggest technology challenge this year, and what have you done to adapt? Okay, John, you've got it.
You know, I'd have to say definitely related to COVID. I would say just making everybody function at 100% or close to it remotely from their homes. We had to deal with slow internet connections. We had to deal with our accounting software not working 100% perfectly. We had to deal with more people accessing, with licenses. But at the end of the day, it took a few weeks, but we finally got everything running smoothly. But I would say just the remote piece for workers working from home was the biggest challenge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm getting notes from production team saying I better begin to wrap this up. I think we have to wrap up at 10:50. So we had a closing question for each of you, and I still would like to ask those, okay? But I'd ask you to be real brief in your answer so we can wrap this up in time. So John, this one's for you. What do you know now that you wish you knew before?
Real quickly, I think it's like with anything in life, don't sweat the small things. Don't worry about the things you can't control. In international business, huge list between government intervention that you can't. I think the last thing, don't stop learning. I took a course at University of Washington last year, a business collaboration course, and I walked away learning so much more than I thought I would. So that's it.
Great tips. Thank you. Matt, if you had to do it all over again, what is the one thing that you would do differently?
I think I would say get a coach. When I was in the military, pardon me, they have a very structured program. If you want to succeed in the military, just pay attention. They've got it all laid out. They've got classes, courses, programs, advancements. It's not a mystery. When you're in the civilian world, like I like to say, the civilian world, it's the wild, wild west. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's kind of the joy of being a business owner is you can do whatever you want. You can create whatever kind of climate, culture, go after any kind of customer. For me, get a coach would be the good advice, because I kind of had accustomed myself to that experience of you want to succeed, do this, do this, do this. And then it was just not there. It's like I had to answer the question. And having a coach was huge because no matter what type of business you're in, there is a business model for success. It's not a mystery unless you just haven't heard about it yet. So get a coach, get a business coach, have them walk you through kind of a structure and have you kind of light the pathway to success and help you with accountability and help you with mentorship. That would be the other thing is mentorship, connect with your peer group. I found myself many times saying, we can't do this. And then I would meet somebody in my industry that not only did it, but they did it really well. And I realized, wow, I guess you can do it unless you're stuck in your rut of saying, I can't do this. So I'd say connect with your peers and your industry group, learn from them, try to be helpful to others. That's also your peer, and get a coach. Don't put it off. It's the best investment you'll make, because the truth is your company won't change until you change. That's what I found out. When I got across a problem that was difficult, I realized I needed to change something personally about my attitude and behavior and perspective before that problem would change. So if you want to change and grow faster, get a coach.
Well, thank you. Olga, what's one piece of advice you'd give every entrepreneur listening today to help them take their business to the next level?
I'll be really, really, really fast, but I think I'm gonna do 3. Is your business making a difference in more way than once? Besides making money, are you helping your community? Are you connecting with other people? Are you helping new entrepreneurs? What are you doing that is just more than one thing that is enriching yourself? How do you give back? How do you go back and enrich others? Number 2, never forget where you come from. Never shy away from me to go back to do the dishes, to do customer service, to get in the car. Never forget where you came from. Doesn't matter how far you're gonna go. And listen to your customers. They will tell you what they want.
Great advice. Thank you. Sai, when you think about your entrepreneurial journey, what stands out?
Well, I'd have to say receiving entrepreneur awards, but personally, I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I just thought of myself as a security guy, and I tend to focus on what I do wrong more than what I do right, and I just really desire to not make the same mistake twice, and those are the things that I think about. But I really appreciate the SBA and other groups that have made me feel like an entrepreneur.
Excellent, thank you. Susie, what's next for your business?
I think we're going to get more into education and do more pairings with food. I think we can move into more, since we're a boutique cidery, I can make custom cideries for special events, for weddings, for a restaurant, make their own product for them, something for them. And then because of this award, I was also contacted by the Washington State Department of Agriculture, and I've been introduced to export. And so I've attended several missions and keep going to Zoom meetings, trying to learn what's required and what's all involved. It's quite, obviously it's overwhelming for a little small company like me, but it's been very exciting. And my next focus will be exporting probably to Canada since we're so close. And I'd like to target the market of Victoria and Vancouver because that's a larger market. And so more education and hopefully export, but you know, that's not going to happen this year, though. I'm sowing seeds for down the road later on.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So now we tried to get through all the questions that were asked. I can tell that we've missed a couple, but we need to begin to wrap this up. I'd tell the audience, you can connect with our panelists. Go to the speaker portal, you can provide your business card, and I think they've demonstrated a willingness to help others. And so if you reached out to them, if we didn't get your question answered, please feel free to connect with them. And I want to thank all of our panelists for your time and commitment to help others, help our audience learn from this, be inspired by what you've done. And I want to encourage the audience tonight. They will all be featured in our awards gala program at 6 o'clock tonight. It's about an hour-long program. You'll learn a lot more about their businesses if you go. It's a great. You'll see them at their places of business and all of that, and see a little bit more about what they do. Hope you picked up some good tips and ideas that you can implement. The next session starts at 11 o'clock. So you've got a few minutes. You can go to the agenda on the home screen and select from one of 5 sessions. I assume you all know what they are, but in case you don't, creating a great place to work, starting a business, what does it really take? Package and price services to maximize revenue, connect with customers and manage your business remotely. And the last one, selling online, e-commerce, readiness, and pivoting. Again, all of these are going to be recorded. We know you can't attend 5 at once, so pick whatever one you want to go see live, but you will be able to go back and see those other ones later. So with that, I think we wrap up the panel session. Again, thanks panelists. Audience, thank you for paying attention and for all your great questions. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the BizFair conference today. Thank you.